I'm drinking water, man. It's duck season. But bottom line, guys, got Pete Cordelli, Brendan Martin, executive producer, in here. Are we going? I'm gonna tell you. I don't know where we're going, what path we're going down, but we saw a lot of carnage in the first round of these playoff games. Ellis Johnson texted me and said, "I don't think any of these teams are going to win the national championship that I saw today, but there's 4 teams that had a bye that are waiting on them." Brendan Martin is in Ocala. I'm in Memphis. Pete Cordelli is in Nashville. We're going to take a few minutes here, kind of give you the takeaways from the weekend, and I'll get started. Pete, and everybody watching, just do us a favor, share us and like us. Take a picture of the QR code. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 channels streaming live simultaneously. Plus, we've got Reels, Instagram. We're all over the place. And Pete, man, you watch tape like a hedge fund manager watches the ticker tape and studies stock trends and all. And, Friday night, we'll start with that one, Alabama and Oklahoma. I liked Alabama to win that game because I said if they can have a turnover-free game or close to it, not that they threw the ball to Oklahoma. Oklahoma forced them November 15th in that previous 23-21 Oklahoma victory. But I don't think Oklahoma's defense is built to get in a track meet with Alabama. If you look at the stats coming into this game, John Mateer against Power 4 competition, Oklahoma's quarterback, I know he was injured in the Auburn game. He was 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions total against Power 4 competition this year. So let's start with your thoughts on Oklahoma and Alabama. We'll go from there.
Stock up or stock down. Are we on that track today?
Yeah, sure.
Stock up to Alabama, coming from 17 points down on the road.
Yeah.
On the road. That stadium was rocking. I mean, what a great atmosphere to hold the first playoff game of this season in Norman. The way Oklahoma came out and just took control of that football game, you went, wow. Tuscaloosa is going to have a long night and a long flight back to T-Town tonight, this Alabama team. But then, as Dave Bartu likes to talk about, momentum changed.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with the punter. How do you catch the football? You start to go forward, but Rob, his hands were down around his knees. He separated his hands, and it was almost like he was going to hit a punch shot in golf. Like he was going to punch the football rather than having most of the time you teach a punter, lock your elbow to your hip and then the drop occurs. So now you're getting the full angle of that foot. Yeah. This kid had dropped the ball down below his knees, and then his hands separate. And how about that big tackle from Alabama jumping on that football? Then the one thing that drives coaches nuts about quarterbacks is don't predetermine the throw.
Yeah.
Alabama rushes 3, drops 8, balls on the left hash, and this kid's been playing football a long time. He just opens up, throws it left, and that corner's sitting there for Alabama and takes it to the house. And you're going, John Mateer, look before you throw. Because on the replay, if you saw it, Rob, the corner's sitting. So they're basically rushing 3, 5 under, 3 deep. The outside receiver, he sight adjusts, and he does the right thing. You teach receivers, when that corner's sitting there and not backing up, the hitch becomes a go, a fade route. Go where they're not. Find the open area. Mm-hmm. And when you're playing against a cover 2 or a 3-5-3, that corner is getting deep. There's a window that you talk about. It's 16 to 24 yards from the line of scrimmage. So you can't put a lot of air on the ball because that safety has time to react. But yet you have to get enough of a feathering effect where you get the ball over the corner, and that window for years has been described as 16 to 24 yards. Yeah. If it's any longer than 24, the safety's got a chance to get there and knock the living heck out of you or intercept it. Mm-hmm. If it's any shorter than 16, the corner can sink and make a play falling back on it. It's the same in the middle of the field. It's the same on the other side. 16-24. Mateer never looks. He just takes that ball, 1, 2, 3, boom. He's expecting the guy to run the hitch, and he never reads the coverage. I got to tell you, Kane Womack, to me, finally, thank you, Kane, unleashed the dogs.
Yeah.
We saw the most aggressive Alabama defense we've seen all year. Quit playing that vanilla stuff, man. Those kids are hungry. Let the big dog eat. That's why they came to Alabama, to make plays like that. And sure enough, as Dave Bartu likes to say, the number one criteria now in victory is who has momentum. The other thing that surprised me about Oklahoma is the only run game they had was Mateer on the quarterback run.
Yeah.
Their running backs couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
And I really liked the way Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb went about calling this game. But man, 17-0 down on the road, and you're going the only way. It's kind of like in golf when a guy gets a big lead. The only way somebody can come from behind is if he comes back to the pack because of his mistakes. Oklahoma came back to Alabama and allowed them, and they couldn't overcome it.
Yeah.
Last year, every home team in the first round won. This year, that one on Friday night set the tempo, brother.
Well, when you think about Alabama, you say that Womack unleashed the dogs. They've got talent. I mean, it's not the 2 and 3 deep that it was, say, 5 years ago, but that 1 and 2 talent, it's 2 or 3, in the country. It's Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. I go back and I think about Oklahoma, their problems in the running game. Hell, they got Jaden Ott, the running back from Cal Berkeley. They pay him a bunch of NIL money. This kid hadn't done a damn thing all year long. And from what I hear, it's just him saying, I don't feel like I'm ready to play. I would kick his ass off the team so fast, I wouldn't pay him a dime. And I mean, I cannot imagine what it is like for a coaching staff. But I'll tell you what I've learned. I've talked to some collectives recently. What's starting to really happen is they're going to the coaches, and the ADs are saying, let me tell you something. You're the coach, but we're the collective. That guy right there, you've been paying him for 2 years, $500,000. He hasn't done a damn thing. We're gonna if he wants to stay, we'll give him 180, maybe 200. And that's why all these kids are hitting the portal. Okay, you test drove them, and they're just not what you thought they were. And you know what? Potential, they say, is a Cajun word for you ain't done shit yet. That's what's really going on.
Hey, Rob,
Yeah.
I just read an article, it's probably Thursday, that John Calipari, I love Cal.
Yeah.
Cal has come up with basically an insurance policy for his NIL boosters at Arkansas. And here's what, bottom line, goes to your point. If a booster puts money into the NIL at Arkansas for basketball and the young man does not play, they refund the money to the booster.
Good. They should.
And it makes all the sense in the world. It's based off of how insurance policy works. All right? It's there when you need it. Now, I'm going to send you the article today when we get done. But this will be the new wave in NIL and collectives.
Yeah.
And Cal and his folks have come up with it.
Yeah.
If a guy's there for 2 years and hasn't played, guess what? He's not getting his money.
Yeah, and he should.
The boosters aren't losing their money.
Yeah, and that's what's going to.
Look, this happened at Kansas 2 years ago. Remember how good that Kansas quarterback was?
Jaden Daniels.
All of a sudden, he's from California. He's getting calls to go back to UCLA when Chip Kelly was there. So guess what? This mysterious back injury popped up. I can't play. My back. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? Nah, I'm just not. Guess what? Coach Holtz, and I'm going back to 1972. If you didn't practice on Tuesday, all right, there's a chance you weren't going to start. If you didn't practice Tuesday, Wednesday, you definitely weren't starting. If you didn't practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you didn't dress.
Yeah.
So now you take that a bit further with this money coming in, and what I read that Cal has instituted at Arkansas for basketball. You start going, young guy, There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
Here's the
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. I agree.
We need you to get paid to work. You
Yeah.
got to do your work.
Yeah, and if they're not going to do it, it's absolutely the best thing that's going to happen. It'll clean up this mess because right now it's just free money for a lot of these kids, and the kids they're showing up. So
Well,
looking
yeah,
and
but the agents are taking advantage, right?
exactly
So,
there,
and that's what it is. It's not really the kids. The kids are just doing what they're told.
it's the street agents and the
And the
runners and
parents
their
are
and their
like,
posses.
yeah, and the narrative is like, well, they're going to screw my kid anyway, so we're going to screw them. And look, everyone's justified. That's the
Yeah,
problem with NIL.
yeah,
Everyone's justified. Everyone's got a right to the argument. It all makes sense. Everyone should get paid. It should all be a business. We all get it. But I think there is a misunderstanding about the realities of how much money there is and all this kind of things. And Rob, I just want to say, like, I think the collectives or the idea of the collectives really have not been working.
no,
And because what my first thought of the collectives was like, you were going to be hired. Somebody courted me once, very beginning, said, could you be a media director for a collective? I said, well, yeah, you could. And they should have a media director. They should have somebody that comes in and says, this is your social. This is what you're doing. This is what we do as a collective. Our collective expects excellence and more from our group of people, right? And that they should be way more in tune from, point to finish, that you're going to come in and go through a system and that you're going to be a part of all this collective. That was a lot of the understanding. And then money got crazy. And as money does, and the Jimmy Sextons of the world and everyone enters into the program. And now we've got what we have. But somebody has got to be the voice of reason. And there needs to be a national collective of people of saying, look, this is whether they're going to regulate this or not. We can, as a college, call it academia, whatever you want, but have an opportunity to say, hey, we're not okay with this. And if we say this and Auburn says this and the SEC says this, then we can, look out for each other because it's going to better ourselves.
Well, what's going on too is the collectives are getting a lot of power, Pete. I think they're taking over. So we'll table that for now. But the discussions are starting, and it's people, because wealthy people and people that are investing money are going to want the return on investment. And if they see 1 or 2 years and you hadn't done anything, they're not going to keep doing it. If they do, they're complete living brain donors. All right, let's get to that.
What did Troy Aikman say 2 weeks ago about UCLA? He's done. I'm done donating money to my alma mater. All right. What did Portnoy say from Barstool about, I'm done. I'm done. Larry Ellison's wife is the Michigan graduate, not Larry Ellison.
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
But guess what? The Ellisons are done. So now you got Oracle money being taken out. You got Barstool money being taken out.
Told you.
Troy Aikman donated a lot of money to the UCLA collective to get this thing going.
Yeah.
And so now all of that's gone. But in the book I wrote, Making the Grade, and I have position specifics.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 20 criteria that you're going to get graded on. Why isn't there a position specific NIL payment sheet, what you do, so everybody knows?
Yes. There needs to be.
Like Brendan said, that's a great point. But the agents, and no one's putting the time and effort into the agents, because guess what, Rob? They're getting between 10 and 15%. It's not 3 and 4.
Yeah, which is what a regular agent gets. The collectives are getting, some of these people originally were going to get 20+%. So I'm just like, I mean, I could just smash the computer when I get so mad about this because it's so rotten and so corrupt. So let's get back on this. Ole Miss and Tulane. Look, tomorrow morning we're going to be back on with this esteemed panel, along with our esteemed colleagues, that we always assemble on Monday mornings, folks, on this channel at 8 a.m. Central. Pete Golding. I love the name. Look, he's been at Ole Miss now 3 or 4 years. He's the second highest paid defensive coordinator in college football. Now he's the head coach at Ole Miss. I thought Ole Miss, I talked to a lot of friends at a Christmas party last night who were down at the game. Largest crowd in history, biggest sporting event, I would have to say, in Mississippi history. And the Rebels look like this is Pete Golding's team.
Yep. They were, look, they bought into Pete a long time ago.
Yeah.
Pete came in there, and not just because he's the defensive coordinator doesn't mean he has any interaction with the offense. He does.
Yeah.
He does. But guess what? Pete Golding did a heck of a job at Alabama for Nick Saban. It's just sometimes in coaching, you get sideways with people. And for whatever reason, Pete and Nick had their differences, which, hey, it happens as you try to evolve with your personnel and your philosophies. And Nick, being as dominant of a personality as he is, this is how I'm doing it, and this is how I want you to do it. There's really no flexibility under Nick to do, especially on defense.
Yeah.
He realized he had to change his offense. That's why he brought Lane. That's why he had Sark. Okay. But on defense, non negotiable.
Yeah.
Here's how you're doing it. And guess what? Some other teams studied that and found ways to move the football. I know
Yeah.
defensive backs that have played for him. They've said, in this situation, my right foot had to be up, left foot back. In this situation, my feet had to be parallel. Well, guess what? People spend the offseason studying
Yep.
that and trying to
Them.
figure. And Pete Golding's trying to make a couple suggestions. You have the title in name only. This is my defense. So that stuff happens. The two coaches that Nick, right now are out there having success are Kurt Cignetti. We know Cignetti was
Yeah.
the on-staff recruiting coordinator as well, and he's done a tremendous job when he left between Indiana, University of Pennsylvania, James Madison, and now at Indiana, obviously. Pete Golding, the players love him. And
Yeah.
you know what? Those kids on defense, that football team felt betrayed. They had something to prove yesterday.
Yeah.
How
They
many of
did.
those kids? How many of those kids after Kiffin left said we're joining the portal? Not many.
Here, the question,
Not
real
many.
quick, not to interrupt you, but Trinidad Chambliss.
Mhm.
Do you think he goes to LSU? Do you think he stays at Ole Miss? Because he looked very happy. Of course, nowadays you don't know what to believe, and I like to say, is it live or is it Memorex? Is this real or is it AI?
I don't believe Trinidad Chambliss will go to LSU and try to start over with a new team. He knows his guys around him. He knows who those receivers are. The new offensive coordinator coming in, he and Trinidad have had many a meeting, and they understand. I look for Austin Simmons to go to LSU, the backup quarterback, because he's not. If Trinidad comes back, Trinidad's their guy.
Yeah.
That team has rallied around Trinidad like Vanderbilt's players rallied around Pavia.
Yes.
I don't see Trinidad wanting to go with 1 year left and have to recreate the situation he's
Okay.
in, not knowing the players he's got around him.
Yeah, that makes total sense because it's a question that's going to be asked a lot. All right, flipping gears real quickly. Miami at Texas A&M. Texas A&M. It's got to be so frustrating to be a Texas A&M fan because you're 11-0. You go on the road to Texas, and you and Ellis both talked about this on the show. You put pressure on Marcel Reed, A&M's quarterback. He struggles. I mean, and if you can't handle pressure at this level, don't even talk about the NFL because you're not even going to make it. And here he is in his second year. He just struggles. And the signs going into this game, I picked Miami straight up to win.
Mm-hmm.
You looked at it 4 times prior to yesterday. The Aggies had given up 200+ yards rushing. Yesterday, they gave up 218 yards rushing to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, of the 7-1 SEC record A&M had, and you can't pick your schedule, you play who you play, but 7 victories, all 7 of them are against the bottom 8 SEC teams.
Yep.
And they show up. I always like to say this about when you bet about home games. You're most likely to get mugged in your own driveway because you let your guard down. I've made it home. Guy jumps out of the bushes, knocks you on the head with a tire iron, you're done. They have that giant stadium out there at College Station. Those cheers, I don't know what they're doing. I still hadn't figured it out, but damn it, they laid an egg and took a dump on national TV. Not that Miami was an offensive juggernaut.
Let's go back on Marcel Reed. That's a great point. I've seen Marcel ever since he's been in high school.
Yeah.
He's had that issue all through high school. He had committed to Ole Miss from MBA Academy,
Yeah.
Montgomery Bell Academy. He committed to Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss and then flipped because Jimbo came in with a bigger financial package for him.
Yeah.
Marcel Reed has had that situation since his 10th grade year at MBA.
Yep.
When you pressure him and he's forced to throw the football, and there are differences in quarterbacks. There are passers and there are throwers. The passers know how to put touch on the ball. They can make an accurate throw under duress with consistency. Marcel can't do that. I was shocked on the second interception. They moved the ball down the field. But now when the field's condensed, you have a short field. You got to get rid of the ball quickly. What does Marcel do best? Runs.
Yes.
I was shocked. The ball's on the right hash. Why didn't they give him a run option to the field? And here's the thing. Reuben Bain and those guys and Medesser, the other kid, the other big lineman, they're on the right side. They're in the short side. They're coming with pressure. Let Marcel sprint to the field. If you remember the play, the outside receiver, he's lined up, he comes in motion. They reduce the defense because the corners come in and they're playing man. If Marcel sprints left, he's going to throw a touchdown pass or run it in himself. Under pressure, quarterbacks revert back to what they know best, what their security blanket is. He is a runner. He's not a passer. When it comes to throwing the football, he's a thrower. One time it's here. Thank God he had Concepcion and Craven.
Yeah.
Those kids make great catches. And the big tight end.
Yeah.
But guess what? On a consistent basis, I'm not taking Marcel Reed as my guy to win a championship because he cannot do the things you need under pressure, under duress, where Fernando Mendoza can.
Yeah, and he has a big offensive line.
Sayin can't do it for Ohio State.
Yeah. Hey, Speed, I want to ask you this right now. I hate to interrupt you, but you're on a roll and you're making so many great points. Let's go back to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. I have never seen so many people who really don't seem to know what they're talking about. In the preseason, accolades. I mean, they had written the first two paragraphs of Arch Manning's Heisman speech. But don't forget the fact that 4 or 5 starters on the Texas offensive line are gone, and he hasn't thrown a meaningful pass in a college football game yet. The last time he started a game that mattered was in the playoffs his senior year in November of 22. You go back and you look at all these quarterbacks that were picked. Julian Sayin, he's special. No, what's going on is you've got people that are clickbait whores that are out there throwing all this stuff out there to get clickbait, and they don't know. They're living brain donors, Pete. And I refer back to you as counsel, like I do with Ellis. But Brendan and I see this. It's laughable how wrong they are. And you talked about DJ Lagway. Seems like a great kid by all accounts. But he was injured. He got injured, you said, this summer. Mm-hmm. Pete, you've forgotten more than I know about this stuff.
Rob, let me tell you something. I hate to say this about this media profession that we're in.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the political situation.
Yeah.
People don't want to say anything negative about someone because they're afraid they won't get another interview or a one-on-one spot, especially with the Manning family. It's not a knock on the Manning family. They have done everything in the world to deserve where they are.
Yeah.
But when Archie Manning, who I have all the respect in the world for, came out and said early in the year, Arch isn't coming out for the draft. And everyone went, oh my God, Archie's speaking for Arch. Yeah. He's seen what his grandson's going through.
Yes.
He is not ready. Wasn't ready. But then you got some other folks, the clickbaiters. Well, if I say something bad on this so-called network, I'm going to make them mad. And when I do my show, I can't get Archie on.
Yeah.
I can't get Eli on. I can't get Peyton. Well, guess what? Get Cooper on then. That's his father. who understands this game. Cooper was one heck of a receiver till he had the neck problem at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But to put a freshman, redshirt freshman, in that position, and some of the other young guys who haven't played a down yet, meaningful down.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He played in mop-up roles.
It's meaningful downs. That's the
meaningful.
Yeah.
They have to have some substance.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I will say this is that Texas was a different team playing at home in Austin than they were on the road.
They
got beat at Kentucky.
Well, no, they double overtime.
They got beat at Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, this team away from home didn't have inside that. And guess what? The defense wasn't the problem. So what does Sark do? He fires Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquino. He fires two guys to get Will Muschamp. But nothing's done with the offense.
Yeah.
And they are not very good as a unit until they beat Texas A&M. They got the momentum. You make a great point about A&M and who they played going into that game. But Arch at home is good. These other quarterbacks, don't put them in the Hall of Fame until they're ready. There's a saying, don't confuse activity with achievement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of activity going on or surrounding these guys. What have they achieved?
Yeah.
Well,
This is college football. So I don't care if you can't get an interview with Archie Manning because you say, speak the truth.
Yeah.
Now, his future is good,
Yeah.
but he still has to produce. Texas was preseason #1, and it was based on Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Come on, folks.
Well, I just don't think he's got the want to. It seems to like come down legacy sometimes with that. It's like, does he have the drive? Does it, I don't know. It's the same with Lagway, man. Same with Lagway. It's the same thing. He wasn't developed, but he wasn't inspired to be developed. He wasn't inspired to be, and if he was, then it wasn't done correctly. And if it was inappropriately inspired, then it's like not going to the train. Like all these things factor in, but you got to want it. You got to want it to want to crush yourself in that space. And maybe that's why we see the likes of John Summerall coming in and saying, hey, there's the door. Whatever was said in the sense of, look, I would rather have a guy that wants to be here that I can coach and coach him up that's hungry rather than these guys that are already fat and happy.
Yeah, but what's going on
Brendan,
is
I'm going to go back one guy further. Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson and DJ Lagway are one and the same to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the first guys getting off the bus, and you're going, oh, my God, that's the quarterback?
Yeah.
Until you actually see him play. And you know what? It's a coach's job to get a guy to play above what he thinks he can do. Yes. You have to break down that mental barrier and go, you know what, son? You can push yourself further. But if you're not going to do the things necessary, I'm going to go out and recruit better. Not bigger, not stronger, not faster, but better. A guy who has a bigger heart. And what you just said, Brendan, makes all work ethic still matters.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people miss on guys like this, Rob.
Well,
how do you miss on this intangible of work ethic?
Well, you know what it is, Pete? We've got kids today are coddled, and the parents jump in and do things for them instead of letting them fail. Right, you got to learn how to fail, and not that you want it to be habitual, but you know what? If your kids think that you're cool and you're their best friend, you better wonder why. My kids, we're not friends. They love me, but you think about this. You're right. Ask Cooper Manning. And here's the thing about Arch and Archie. Archie talked to the Ole Miss team the other day. Everybody's seen it on social media. He says, just be a good teammate, okay? We have got all these individual people. I saw it at SEC Media Days. The man crush when Arch Manning walked through the room, and I'm being completely honest, I didn't even go over there. I was like, that's ridiculous, okay? The kid hasn't done anything in the college level yet, okay? How much pressure from the collective at Texas do you think was put on Sarkisian to play Arch Manning? Do you think maybe if he had his ways, he may have said, Quinn Ewers, another year of him, we might be a little more because we're going to lose 4 starters on the offensive
But
line.
it's the
And
pressure. You
it's the
gotta.
pressure
It's
from
the
the collectives that are doing this.
The pressure from the people paying him, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. The collectives.
Donors.
Here's what I said this when it
But-
started. You wait until NIL. You're going to have some sponsor. Frosted Flakes sponsors Jack Greer as the starting quarterback from Mississippi State, and Jack gets a DUI, and they say we're pulling him off, and they're going, nope, you're playing him. We're paying him $2.5 million a year as an NIL deal. You wait. You think that isn't happening, or there isn't pressure? That's what Pete. I can tell you ain't lost a thing. You're more fired up than when you were coaching. But but these kids are not hearing this enough. They're getting stroked all the time by these 15 or 20 parasites around them who are living vicariously through them. And I got a guy that is with a collective at a school who said he had a parent recently say to him, "You need to redo my son's deal because we can't pay our car note." This is ridiculous.
But that's been happening
90
to some degree. We've been having some of that with the elite players have been
forever.
So let's not like
I know.
Your halo is blinding me, old guy. Get off my lawn.
Get off of my lawn.
No.
Jeez.
Guys, look, you two are right on, but you also know 99% of these kids will never make this amount of money again in their life.
That's right. We know.
And Brendan, what you said, they're being told what to do by the agents. The families are following it. 99% of these kids getting NIL money. Why do they stay an extra year now? Why are the college baseball players coming back an extra year rather than go ride that bus in single A or double A? They got a better life in SEC baseball, and I don't blame them. But there's an acronym that's been used in the National Football League for years. TOE, T-O-E, talent over everything. It has trickled down to the collectives, college, high school. Oh, he's got so much talent, we got to let him play. There was an article written here yesterday in the Nashville paper. Why isn't Clark Lee suspending Diego Pavia for what he said to F all the voters who didn't vote for me? You don't know if that kid's coming back. But, oh my gosh, it's Diego Pavia. Are you kidding me? Lou Holtz used to say, guys, 4 things. Don't do or say anything that's going to embarrass you, your family, this football team, and this university. All the goodwill that he did, he just threw it out the window.
He did.
And Vanderbilt football now, it's like, the coach didn't do anything. At some point,
because the players like, I don't care. I'm literally my phone is blowing up on the practice field. I don't care.
Yeah, they're looking at all their clicks that they're getting on social media. They don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Hey guys, here's the other thing that's coming up.
I just think there needs to be a punishment.
No question.
That's all there is to it. It's like we need to say, and I don't want to get. This is a whole another show, but we could do it. But I'm just saying, like there are ways that old school rules that are in place that don't get enforced anymore, like academia. There are things that don't.
There's no such thing as academia anymore. You know why?
Right. But you know why? The rules still.
You know why? There. Hey, Siri, what's the answer?
Yeah.
I am so scared to death about our younger people. They're being educated off the damn iPhone.
There's going to be a professor who's going to step in and say, "I am not letting this." Somebody's going to do it. That's just because they're going to get.
I'm with Brendan. Brendan, I totally agree. I want to see
those rules exist right now. You can enforce those today.
Guys, I'm telling you right now. When a guy gets up in the morning,
I agree with that.
He goes to the football building, gets his breakfast, gets his workout in. Then he goes to the academic part of the football building and does his online classes.
Right, but
then he comes out and he goes and lifts weights. Mm-hmm. He eats lunch. He goes to a position meeting, goes to practice, comes back, eats dinner, goes to the trainer, goes back to the academic room for 1 hour. And now with the transfer portal, the biggest oxymoron out there is student athlete. How are we judging what schools these kids graduate from when we're seeing 4, 5, 6 transfers? What college or university says, well, he graduated with us? Here's my question. How is the NCAA evaluating graduation rates now? Because if you get below a certain point, you lose scholarships.
Well, you're
Correct.
losing tuition.
Who's
Yeah.
doing that? And here,
Nobody.
the biggest waste of money in college athletics are athletic directors, head coaches getting a bonus for graduation rates. If we can't keep up with where the kids graduated from, why are we paying coaches to graduate players? That's part of your job description, men and women.
Yeah.
Take that money and put it in NIL.
Yeah. I
Don't be
agree.
giving somebody a $200,000 graduation bonus.
Yeah.
For
That's
what?
silly. It's
You didn't
silly.
educate those kids.
Yeah. You're right.
We were so, and Brendan, you're right. We could do a whole nother show on this, but hey, congratulations to Alabama. What a comeback. I know
Yeah.
it was a great win, and Kane Womack being aggressive.
Congratulations
to Miami.
Yeah.
How do you know when you're at Texas A&M? How do you not have a kicker?
Yeah.
I mean, you
How about
can't win a
Oklahoma?
championship.
How about
That one's
Oklahoma's kicker
That
Friday?
one's cringy a little bit. I got
And
to.
then we go to Ole Miss and Pete Golden. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I hate that there's going to be another rematch with Georgia. Again, this is a committee deal. And Dan Lanning, he has peeled the paint off the walls today with his team with that performance in the second half. I promise you.
Yeah.
He was fuming in the second half.
Yeah.
Oregon came out on fire those first 4 drives, man. And how about Dante Moore? Dante Moore says he may not come out now. He's only 20
We beat
years
him
old.
like a high school football team. It was just.
I mean, Oregon is really something. And those backs, oh my gosh, the speed of those guys. And then the defense, really anxious to see this second round of games. But I think the one thing the committee has to do is go to the 12 best teams and cap a group of 5 school at 1 if they earn it.
Well, I wanted to talk. JMU fought back with like what 500
7 yards. They
Yeah,
had 507
509
yards.
or 7 yards and 34 points, earning praise for their effort. So what happened? What happened there? Is you just getting guys in? Like you thought it was a blowout, coach? Like what's going on there?
Yeah, Oregon made some changes. They put their second team defense in, trying to get. They didn't want to get. Look, you're up 34-3 at the half, and then they come out and score and make it 41-3. So now, and most times in blowout games like that, Brendan, Coach Holtz would come in and say, "Hey, let's see how we do. The first team, you're going to play the first series of the third quarter. If we go down and score, and the defense comes out and gets a stop, second teamers, you're in the rest of the game." Because we didn't want the risk of injury. Kind of like kids opting out of bowl games now that know it has no meaning on their future, so they're getting ready for the NFL.
Well,
But you try to protect the health of your football team.
and
You know,
a couple of make goods there, coach. Some guys who have played real well deserve
Yep.
some time there. You know that
Yep.
can feel good,
Yes.
like they're a part of this process. Like how important is that in a playoff style? Do you coach a little differently right now because you got to win?
Well, you got to win, but when you have that big lead, you may have 3 or 4 guys on your team thinking about, well, I may get into the portal because I don't see. You get those guys in the game. Hey, how'd that feel? Hey, man, way to be a part of. Yes,
You're a duck.
You're continuously recruiting your guys.
Well, you're officially a duck. You got
Exactly.
playing time. You're now part
Exactly.
of the pre. You got a stat. You're official now, right?
Well, look,
Exactly.
Bartu's going to be on with us in the morning, and Matt Dean's going to jump on as well. His son
Good.
Tyler's on that staff. Dean just got back in from New York this afternoon from the basketball game up there. He was on the way back over the roads. He goes, "Can I come on in the morning?" I said, "Yeah." And Bartu was at that game with his son, his son's friend. So we'll get his firsthand account of that. But I'm Pete, and Brendan is so right. I want to see a professor, some woolly-headed guy that looks like Al Einstein, get up there and just rip off and go, "This kid has not been to class. He's academically, he doesn't even have a GPA. All classes incomplete." So
Remember a few years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, we had guys not going to bowl games, and they said, well, it was an injury, but then you found out later they had 0.0 GPA
Yeah.
in the fall.
Yeah.
When have we heard in the last 4 years a guy's been suspended because he hasn't been academically eligible? Zero.
Well,
and you know why? ESPN doesn't want that out, and they control the bowl game.
Yeah, they control the narrative. I'm gonna tell you something. Go listen to why Dan Patrick left ESPN. It's a great YouTube. You know what he said? He
He's
goes,
the OG of this.
he goes, I love that guy. He goes, they gave me a great opportunity, and I appreciate everything they did. But as the longer I was there, the more it was like, you're going to interview ESPN people, NFL, Adam Schefter, college, here, this, that. He goes, basically, I began to live in an echo chamber, and that's not what journalism is. If you are surrounded by two groups of people in your life,
Yes.
people who will sign off on every bad idea you come up with because they want to go to your lake house and be buddies with you because you're rich and they want to say you're friends with them. And then the second one is you got truth brokers who you ask a question and they say, Pete, does this dress make me look fat? Yeah, it really does because you're fat. But you got to be able to tell the truth.
Right. Those don't ever equate ESPN broadcasters as journalists. None of them have ever been journalists. First of all, they did not come from that world.
No,
they
you're
came at all. They're not.
Yeah,
they didn't go to day school at Missouri or do something special somewhere else. They're most of those people are there.
Brendan, that's a great point because I know back when I first got into coaching, and you go in and you talk to some people, and they're like, "What school are you thinking of?" Well, Missouri. I said, "Why?" Because of their journalism school.
Yep.
Columbia, because of their
Correct.
and we've lost that anymore because now you can get on and just do the online classes and think you're a journalist, but you're not. Guys, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I said when Mark Emmert was leading the NCAA down the path to hell, he never made a decision that benefited college athletes from day one. Yet he got paid $5.5 million a year.
Good God.
We need, and then the NIL was just coming about. Nobody knew the rules.
Yeah.
Emmert wanted Congress and the Senate to take part and then go state law. Well, the attorney generals in states jumped ahead of him and said, we're legalizing high school NIL. And that was one of the reasons why Tennessee got Nico. It's convoluted, and I said then, we need a commissioner in football. We need a commissioner in basketball.
Yeah, we do.
And I said, we need somebody who's been there, done that, and can say no.
Yeah.
Not always agreeing.
Yeah.
Anytime a kid wants to get something done where they've been ruled against by the NCAA, they call Thomas Mars to represent them. And Thomas Mars has never lost a court decision to the NCAA.
Yeah.
So I said, Thomas Mars should be president of the NCAA. He knows how to beat them. He knows how to work with them.
Yeah.
He knows what to do. But I said the two guys I would recommend for commissioners are Nick Saban, more success, more experience, knows what it is, but he can say no and people will listen.
Yeah.
And Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah,
You have to be, there's a quote by Gandhi. You have to be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
We all know the problems now. And the more it goes on, it's kind of like the CFP committee. Every year there's other issues you got to resolve.
Right.
All right. So that's a work in progress.
But we are trying to make a perfect system out of a way imperfect deal.
Exactly. And there's no such thing.
I thought we changed it and now it's so dumb. It was like awesome and perfect. I mean, it was
so I
best
said,
cluster, to get before we got here. So we're trying. We don't really. How do we fix something that was already way broken because it wasn't fair before?
Yeah, exactly. Correct. But 2 years ago, I went on a radio show and I said the guy I'd recommend for the commissioner of football is Nick, and because he's seen every side of it, whether we're in the octagon with does it have 8 sides?
But who makes that decision? I've done this game.
And that's Brendan. So that's my point is,
who's in charge?
We have no leadership.
None. Zero.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, we talk about fixing. I played this game on AI the other day. I say, explain to me who's in charge. You know what? We went down this rabbit hole for 30 minutes with Grok AI. And you know what the answer finally was? No kidding. Greg Sankey. Literally was like, Greg Sankey controls everything. When we went around the money, I was searching for all the way around AI, and the answer is, well, you know what? Greg Sankey just really controls the whole thing. It's his
Well,
AI. This is crazy.
I'll
So,
tell
like,
you.
think about that.
Let me say
Follow
why.
the money, and that's where you end up. SEC, super
Here's why
conference.
Brendan.
It's
Well,
nuts.
here's
Makes
why
no
Brendan's correct. Brendan's right. You know why? Look at the TV deal. I'm going to compare two things. Look at the TV deal that the Big Ten has. Fox owns 61% of the Big Ten network. You've got games on Fox, Big Ten Network, CBS, and Peacock streaming NBC, okay? They're not cross promoting. CBS doesn't give a damn if NBC succeeds. They don't want them to be better than them. So that's why these ratings and these matchups, you and Ellis sent that article to me a few weeks ago. The SEC is killing the Big Ten in all these matchups because of the contiguous footprint and the natural rivalries. Number two thing that is really, really important with all this stuff is that when it comes to the SEC, you've got Disney owns ABC, ESPN, SEC Network. One family, they're all cross promoting one another. Everybody down here, if you are not in alignment, total alignment, it's hard to be successful. You're not going to do it. And yeah, there are coaches out there that people
They
listen.
want it to break. They want it to break.
They want it to break.
I'm telling you, I've been saying this for 3 years.
Yeah.
They want it to break.
They want it to
Because
fail.
when it's broken, you can come in and say, well, now it's time for the super conference. Let's split off. And that's the only way, by the way, they can do this to break new rules and new regulations is start a whole new deal. Buddy Martin has been saying this to me since I'm old enough to remember that this is what the future is. There will be a super conference. This will change, and we will have to go to this system because there's no other way to fix it.
Yeah,
Brendan, you and Rob, I need to. What year did Georgia take the NCAA to court? Was
1982. 82. Jan Kemp. Yeah.
82?
82.
All right. Well, the year before that, when I first got to Notre Dame, Father Joyce told us a story about when we're talking about recruiting. How can we go into a home and say, Mr. Martin, here's who you can watch Notre Dame. Here's the channel. Here's how many times we're on. The year before that lawsuit, CBS flew Father Hesburgh and Father Joyce to New York. And they made a proposal to them. We went in on a Thursday afternoon. They made a proposal to Father Hesburgh and Father Joyce and said, we want to sign Notre Dame to an exclusive contract with CBS. Now, this is 1982.
Yeah, but this is history.
This is in the spring of 82 because the lawsuit came later. In the spring of 82, $10 million a year for 5 years.
Yep.
And they were like, $10 million a year? Yes. We want to be the exclusive network. This is CBS now, not NBC. Father Hesburgh, Father Joyce looked at each other and said, what a great offer. Give us a night to think about it, and we will give you an answer in the morning. They went back in, and
good boy.
I love dogs. You know that.
Good dog. Dog agrees with you.
Blue.
Hell yeah, coach.
This is Blue.
Blue.
Half husky, half German Shepherd.
There
And let me tell you, she's
called
beautiful, but wow, she's outspoken. But anyway, so they went to dinner and they talked about it. They got up the next morning and had breakfast together. And Father Joyce did not know which way Father Hesburgh was going to go. And he said, Ted, you're the president. You have the final say on this. They walked into the room, said, man, this is an unbelievable offer for our university, for what we're doing. But in fairness to all of college football, I have to turn it down. He said, and Father Joyce said the CBS people were like, you could have just, their jaws hit the floor. You could have picked them up with a feather. They were like, Father Hesburgh, can we take it to 15 million a year? He said, fellas, that would only compound the problem. We understand our brand, but I'm looking out for the whole entire group of college football. We would put some colleges and universities outside of the scope of being competitive. And this is Father Hesper, won the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, one of the smartest men I've ever met. He said, "Men, thank you so much. It's not about more money. It's about what's best for the game." Now, if that's not leadership, I don't know what the hell is.
Yeah.
We have nobody today willing to step up. Everybody wants to give us the problem. Nobody wants to be part of the solution because they don't want the negative comments that are going to go. That's part of leadership, man. You got to overcome criticism and say, what's best for the game? Father
Yeah.
Hesburgh knew what was best. Could you imagine in 1983, Notre Dame starting CBS? They would have recruited every great player nationwide by saying, Mr. Brown, Mr. Martin, you live in California. One of you live in California, the other lives in Ocala, Florida. You don't have to come to South Bend to see your sons play because every game is going to be televised on CBS.
Yeah.
We're the only school in the country that could offer that. And from
So
there,
then what happened in night?
that
Then
Georgia
what?
lawsuit would have never ever been brought. Imagine and I'm still, Father Joyce is, I'm thinking, man, how do we get the CBS logo on our jersey?
Yeah.
Well, then,
And he
then
said, couldn't do it.
well, then what happened in 8 years later, 1990?
Oh,
They made
but
they make a 5-year agreement, exclusively broadcast all football games in '91, worth $35 million. When they break off and they go away from the CFA, right? So like then we've got so they're also leading 8 years later, a direction that I think, it's because look, after that, you got SEC starts making deals with ESPN. It becomes, I mean, look, I'm working in TV at the time. I'm tracking all
yeah,
this stuff. Like, I'm like, who am I working for? Where's my paycheck coming from this week? And that was the time I was doing that
right.
stuff. So that stuff mattered to me as I paid attention more
Yep.
over. So, like, was that just more of like survival at that point, or everyone else was doing it, or like
The lawsuit, they won the lawsuit. And Jan Kemp won the lawsuit. They got ESPN and ABC involved. CBS went another direction. Well, all of a sudden, NBC, they go, what's left? And what was left was Notre Dame football, and that's why they went with NBC. But the other conferences and the other networks became the primary provider for SEC, Big Ten football, ACC.
Yeah, they did.
Remember when the ACC was on Jefferson Pilot
Yep. So was the SEC.
at one point?
Yeah.
Right. Jimmy Rayburn out of Charlotte, North Carolina was
we
running
got paychecks from them? Yeah.
And so, but what happened, Brendan, was everybody else started to go buy Notre Dame now. And they said, whoa, wait a minute. How do we get into this game? And eventually NBC came to them. And so that's when NBC became, I can remember in 87, we played a game on the CW network and everybody complained. All the Notre Dame fans, they couldn't get it. Well, now who's on the CW network? The ACC.
Yeah,
So,
but that's the ultimate at the time. It was the ultimate recruiting dominance to be in every household in America every single game.
Yeah. It
and
was.
that's why Notre Dame went back and did the NBC deal because of recruiting implications. Where we could still recruit nationally, but families didn't have to come now to South Bend or wherever we were playing on the road because all our games were televised on NBC.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is incredible. We got to wrap up, but we're going to be back on in the morning. I know we're going to talk about the top 4 teams. This is great because I got Georgia winning the whole thing, but you've got Oregon going to Miami to play Texas Tech. And you're going to have that's going to be in the Orange Bowl. And then the CFP will go back a few weeks later, play the national championship game there. You've got the Cotton Bowl. Hell, that's going to be big.
Yep.
Ohio State against Miami. And that's the 3rd or 4th biggest alumni base in America, I've heard, for Ohio State, and their fans will travel anyway. Okay,
Oh.
they don't all live in Ohio.
Hey, Ohio State is still. I mean, Miami is still reliving the Ohio State Fiesta Bowl bad call, pass interference in the end zone when it didn't happen.
Yeah, 5 seconds after
Let me
the
tell you,
fact.
that will come up a bunch this week.
Yeah,
the next 2 weeks.
that will, and then you've got Alabama, the more national championships than anybody in history, playing the losingest program of all time, Indiana, in the Rose Bowl, and Alabama kind of validated their program 100 years ago when they beat Washington 20-19 in the Rose Bowl. They will go there as a 6-point underdog against Indiana, and then you've got Texas Tech playing. Now
Oregon?
Texas Tech playing Oregon, of course, in Miami, and Ole Miss playing Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. How big a deal is that going to be?
That's old school. That's old school SEC right there.
Yeah, look, insanity. It's Pete. Thank you so much. More than for a pop-up show, and everybody. This will get streamed and put out here later. But awesome stuff.
How big will the chip on Cignetti's shoulder be against playing Alabama?
Yeah.
Watch out.
Man, hey, guys, there are some great storylines going into these matchups.
Yeah.
You hate to have that game before where you had to really win to earn, really earn it, right?
Yeah, it's going to be insane. But look, everybody.
Man, always a pleasure being with you. Have a great night because we'll see each other soon.
Yeah, we'll see you in just a few hours, man. Thank you, everybody, for watching, man. We'll see y'all in the morning, man. This is great stuff. I'm going to tell you something, man. The interest, it's crazy, but it draws people to want to watch it. But y'all are right. We have no leadership. Let's find leaders. See you in the morning at 8 a.m. Central on Sidelines. The best EP in the world. I'm Rob Browne. We're out of here.
Good night, John.
Good night, John.